Guess who's back?
After a week melting my brain under the Miami sun and nearly drowning in BBLs and tequila, I'm back and there's 4 games to talk about. Starting with Game 73 against a team looking to extend their win streak to 6, the Dallas Stars. Dakota Joshua was finally back in the lineup for the Canucks after missing 18 games with a pinky finger injury, and boy was he noticeable. He was jumping over defenders, making great defensive plays, shooting pucks at the goalie's head, making great defensive plays. By the way, that was Chris Tanev that Joshua poke-checked there, Quinn Hughes' father. It's been 4 years, but I still can't bear the sight of seeing him play for another team. I understand he needs space and wants to find himself, but it's hard when you still think about him every day. Does he not remember the times we shared? Does he not care? Number 3, that's not him. That's not who he is. I know we're the ones who let him go, but it hasn't been the same since. We've changed, Chris. Please. Hughes took a penalty and the Stars scored. 1-0 Dallas. But luckily, just a few minutes later, Conor Gargoyle Garland used a unique combo of Beyblade spin technology and Sedin Twinnery telepathy to set JT Miller up for a one-timer slap shot right from the slot, tying the game 1-1. That's the kind of goal that makes grown men giggle. Seriously, try to watch this without giggling, man or woman. If you can watch this goal without a singular giggle, I'll be impressed. Now, let's check back in on Joshua. He was finishing checks, back-checking, creating scoring chances, drawing penalties, killing penalties, establishing dominance. This was just his first game back. However, it wasn't enough because with barely 3 minutes left in the game, Teddy Bluger was called for high sticking, allowing Dallas to achieve something Vancouver couldn't manage to do themselves all game. Cash in on the power play. Toss in an empty netter to seal the deal, and the Canucks lost 3-1. It was a tough loss, but one thing was for sure. It wasn't Joshua's fault. In fact, he was just getting warmed up. His stellar play continued into Game 74 against the Anaheim Ducks, the season debut for the Canucks' promising young goalie prospect Arturs Silovs, and he was looking sharp despite not playing an NHL game in nearly 400 days. And with just 1 goal to show for in their last outing, Tocchet opted to mix up the forward lines a bit, and that's how we ended up with the neat combination of Conor Garland, JT Miller, and Dakota Joshua. Remember that for later. After going 2 for 18 in their previous 5 games, the Canucks were able to cash in on their first power play opportunity of the game thanks to Besser's 38th goal of the season, 1-0 Vancouver. Silovs made a Luongo-esque glove save. Oh, and then the Canucks' struggling power play managed to cash in for the second time thanks to none other than Connor McDavid. Wait, I'm confused. That wasn't Connor McDavid, that was Dakota Joshua. Are you telling me Big Dak packed his shaft betwixt his calves and roofed Daddy the biscuit top cheese where Mommy keeps the Triscuits? So you're telling me number 81 in blue stuck his twig between his shoes like butter and threw his 6-ounce rubber above the kitchen cupboards? I'm in shock. That was beautiful. 2-0 Canucks. Silovs continued to seal off the net. Ducks scored 2-1. Ducks scored 2-2. I hate when Canucks games turn into horror movies. But remember that new look line combination of Garland, Miller, and Joshua I told you about earlier? Well, with the clock ticking down in the 3rd period and the score tied 2-2, they came in clutch.
Now Garland out in front, score! Joshua, the second of the game! 3-2 Canucks!
What a pass from Garland. These two continue to plagiarize from Henrik and Daniel's highlight reel. Amazing. Big Dak nets his second of the game and the Canucks win 3-2. I just hope they can continue this play into Game 75 against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights. What happened? This was the first game I missed all season. I tried to watch it, but Miami kept pulling me in every direction. I ended up waking up brutally hungover in the middle of a random Florida beach, pantsless, walletless, covered in sunburns, and yet opening my phone to see this score was the worst part of it all. So what the hell happened? Well, it looks like it was a mishmash of poor forechecking and mental slip-ups. The Canucks didn't play very well. For example, the sequence leading to Vegas' first goal began with a disruption in the neutral zone, prompting Filip Hronek, Arshdeep Bains, and Teddy Bluger to opt for a line change. Capitalizing on the opportunity, Vegas forward Pavel Dorofeev took advantage of a distracted Quinn Hughes and positioned himself perfectly to receive a breakaway pass from William Karlsson. Despite Casey DeSmith making an exceptional save on the first shot, when he tried to cover the puck, he swept it right under his glove and onto the stick of Anthony Mantha, who was able to whack in his 22nd goal of the season. And for Vegas' second goal, the whole thing started with a weak forecheck. Big Hog hustled like usual, but he got beat. Now, that shouldn't have been a problem if Pettersson had been pressuring harder, but he wasn't, and that just made it easier for the defender to clear the puck up the boards. And on top of that, Ian Cole chose to pinch, but he couldn't come up with the puck. And suddenly, 3 Vegas players were charging up the ice with only 1.5 Canucks defenders back to stop them. Now, to be fair, Marchessault launched an absolute laser beam here, and he deserves credit for the snipe, but none of that would have happened in the first place if the Canucks had just forechecked harder. However, we were treated to a goal from
Neil's Big Hog Hooglander.
But the thrill was short-lived because just 20 seconds later, Jack Eichel scored to make it 3-1 for Vegas. Captain Quinn tried to carry the team on his back late in the game, and he managed to score 2 goals on his own, but it wasn't enough. 6-3 for Vegas. Here's the thing. This loss shouldn't worry you. I really don't think it means anything. The Canucks beat this team 3-1 less than a month ago. Hockey is a very weird sport. You know how in the NBA, whatever team LeBron played for in his prime was basically a lock to be in the finals? Well, that just doesn't happen in hockey. Connor McDavid's never been to the finals, and Austin Matthews has never even been past the second round. Hockey is weird and unpredictable, and in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why it's so great. The only thing that really matters is if a team has the ability to put a bad game behind them or not. Because bad games will happen, it's just how it goes. Guess what, everyone? Spoiler alert, the Canucks are going to have a game like this in the playoffs as well. That's to be expected, every team will. It's about how they respond. That brings us to Game 76 against the Arizona Coyotes. The Canucks won, 2-1. Yeah, let me flip through my notes. Quinn Hughes got his 3rd goal in 2 games. McBain crushed Pettersson. Didn't like that, but Miller stuck up for him, so that's cool. Arturs Silovs, in his 2nd start of the season, made a great save here. McBain tried to hit Myers, but went absolutely flying in the opposite direction. Hughes was called for tripping, and, I mean, the replay shows he obviously didn't trip him, but I totally understand why the refs called this. It looked like tripping on the ice, I'm sure, but Rick Tocchet was heated on the bench. I couldn't quite make out what he was saying, though. It sounded like, "fucking jealous fuck," but I can't figure out why he would be saying that, so I'm not entirely sure. If you think you know what he was saying, comment it below. Silovs made another great save on the penalty kill, but Arizona eventually scored, and of course it had to be Genther, and if you know, you know. But in the final 10 minutes of the game, Conor Garland flipped a switch, and he looked determined. First of all, look at this little passing play between him and Joshua. They seriously look like the Sedins sometimes, it's crazy. And then look at the energy Garland came out with on his next shift. This dude is hungry. You know he wants to win against his former team. And it all led to this moment in the final 2 minutes. It was almost like Quinn Hughes realized,
"Oh yeah, I'm one of the best players in the league."
Because when he got the puck, he just skated around the offensive zone like,
"La la la la, you can't get me."
and it led to the game-winning goal scored by Conor Garland. The Canucks won 2-1, and that's how they responded to getting blown out by the Vegas Golden Knights. Perfect. After those 4 games, the Canucks are now 47-21-8, good enough for 1st in the Pacific Division, 2nd in the Western Conference, and 4th in the entire league. Oh yeah, and for the first time since 2020, the Vancouver Canucks are officially playoff bound, baby! The last time the Canucks played a playoff game in Vancouver was in 2015, 9 years ago. This is going to be a blast. Oh, and thank you to all the people who tuned in to the first 2 episodes of the Nuckhead podcast. I release new episodes first thing in the morning every Thursday, and the next installment will be featuring fellow Canuck YouTuber Diener HD. So comment any questions you have for him or I or us below, and we'll answer as many as we can. Congrats to the 2 people who predicted the score of Game 73 against the Stars correctly, the 5 people who predicted the score of Game 74 against the Ducks correctly, and to the 5 people who predicted the score of Game 76 against the Coyotes correctly. Also, moving forward, please format your predictions like this, or else I might not be able to find them. The next game is tomorrow against the Los Angeles Kings, and I'm feeling a 4-2 win for the Canucks. Comment your predictions below. Thank you to these Nuckheads who choose to support the channel by clicking the join button. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you Monday. Bye.
You know, I know Edmonton fans, their minds were thinking, hey, we got a chance to catch this Vancouver Canucks team, but is the race for first the Pacific over?
It is over. It belongs to the Vancouver Canucks.